I am delighted to have this opportunity to speak with you, speak before you and share my insights on crude oil. My name is Fidel Castro, and I'm a certified financial technician with over 10 years experience actively involved in FX and CFD trading as a technical analyst visually. And today I am here to discuss my analytical viewpoint of crude amidst the current economic uncertainties. During this presentation, I will provide you with a brief overview of the fundamentals, as they are key as well, examining key trends, challenges right now, and the opportunities in the crude oil space. I will also offer valuable insights and practical recommendations to help you navigate through the complexities of trading and investing alike. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. Um, Before you here, we have this is the crude oil chart. Um, but before we go into the deep end of the chart or the analytics thereof, um, let's just get a brief overview of crude oil as a vital commodity, in the global economy, and the crucial role it plays in various industries. So you find that ideally, though, the whole global economy is running on oil, so to speak, right? So you'll find the price of crude oil is influenced by various factors, of course, including but not limited to supply and demand, supply and demand dynamics, geopolitical tensions, which are major key as well, global economic conditions, whether we are in a recessionary environment as we are right now, whether those fears are there and their impact on demand and supply thereof, of oil, and of course, market speculations, where we come in as speculators and try to discern the whole analytical environment regarding this commodity. So, having said that, let me just briefly mention a few before I go to the technicals. I like to keep the fundamentals in mind, before looking at the numbers or the charts, try to deduce patterns, etc. So it's important to understand uh, the dynamics behind it. And by dynamics, I mean the key drivers. For me, basically, I would mention, I think, for the purposes of this presentation and also to keep it as brief as possible, uh, I would point out a few of the drivers which I'm looking at, which I think are influencing the price of oil, maybe from a longer term or a shorter term perspective. Uh, for having said that, if I was to look at this chart, it looks it's utterly bearish, right? It's obviously, look at the price structure. We are having higher, lower highs, the lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. So, from a basic fundamental price structure analysis, we are in a downtrend. And in other words, we are bearish on this particular instrument, which we're looking at here, which is crude oil. Now, having said that, as much as we're having a bearish outlook from the chart, which we are looking at right now. I believe this is a weekly chart, uh, and of course from the price action which we've just the price structure which we've just analyzed. It's also imperative to understand that different trends have different characteristics. So, from a secular perspective, a secular cycle perspective, or viewpoint of crude, I would say that it is in a bullish, super cycle, right? And I say this simply because of when I'm looking at the major supply and demand dynamics, and this by strictly focusing on the strategic petroleum reserves. There has been a SPR depletion as a result of the ongoing the OPEC cuts. Or we're having the Russian invasion in Ukraine. All these different dynamics has, you know, led to a lower, lower supply, and so the U.S. has had to tap into its own, strategic petroleum reserves, which is depleting, continuously depleting as we speak. All right. Other factors I would look at, the monetary response to inflationary pressures. Of course, we've been seeing since the Tapa Tantrum to try to bring inflation down. We have raising of the interest rates, by the Fed. So this, of course, also has created a massive amount of destocking. Uh, I mean, in terms of the oil reserves, and thereby impacting its demand supply dynamics. Um, the IEA as well has been raising, I think, every single forecast since November last year in terms of where they see the price of oil being in the foreseeable future. But having said that, I would also look at the other side of the coin. Recently there's been the Saudis trying to hold the flow of, trying to hold the flow, the price flow of oil, by uh, demanding that their counterparts in the, in the space be able to cut uh, the oil output. As for them, they promised, and actually, starting this July, it'll be like a million barrels a day. However, this has not been, there's been a discerning approach towards that. Not everyone has complied to that, which definitely has not given oil the catalyst which they wanted to create, the kind of the demand in order to hold the prices. It hasn't really materialized, or rather manifested, as a result of these cuts by Saudi, for example. In that same space, you'll find also, the psychology still, if you look at the psychology in the future space, it is still bearish, as many of the macro hedge funds reduced, but they did not entirely cut their short positions in Brent. On the eve of the Vienna conclave last month. Now, uh, case in point is, I feel that oil bears have two powerful macro trends in their favor. Right? One is that Russia has simply not kept its promise, to the Saudis to cut its crude oil output. Yeah. I think it was about by 500,000 barrels a day, and its agents, of course, are still selling its crude to China and India, well below the price cap. So that weighs more bearish from a macro fundamental perspective. And secondly, I think China's post-COVID recovery, while it's real, it hasn't had a massive impact on the distillates demand. Uh, China's, factory orders, industrial production, retail sales, and even the net exports have all, disappointed. But not only in China, but this has happened across, most of the G7, uh, G7, G10 countries, as the global recession fears weigh down on on the mass on the global economy. So China being, of course, a major player, and element in the demand, therefore use of, this oil, and for it to be experiencing a slowdown uh, in terms of, the reopening, and a slowdown in economic recovery or activities, which would drive up the demand for oil. I feel that that is a bearish sentiment in the short to medium term. Let me say the medium term for oil. Um, Having said that, let's jump right quick onto the charts. Uh, as we can see on mentioned earlier, our long term, we have a long term downtrend line, and oil has been falling since has been falling since it got to the 139 levels at the price shock during the invasion in Ukraine, to currently trading at 75.83 as I speak in this presentation. Um, but would also like to highlight two important levels on this technical chart. Uh, One of them being this major uptrend line, you know, kind of slanting, almost horizontal, but a key level uh, irrespective. All right, we see price retested this level three times, about four times in the past, and held strong. Uh, and these reversals have been, of course, as I was mentioning earlier, about the attempt to hold or stimulate demand by the whether it's the price oil cuts, or even just as a general technical level from the price. As of course you demand, you'll expect a lot of buyers hovering around and below this area, so thereby uh, giving the support, giving the support in price, as we see price rebounding on this area. Looking at the psychological aspect, implication from this level, also we see that there has been candlestick reversal formations, very key candlestick reversal formations, which imply a bullish sentiment, and and I think the bulls are just not ready to give up this level, or let price go against this below this 71 level in crude oil. And at the moment, of course, we'll see price, the crude has been trading in a sideways range since the beginning of May. Since the beginning of May, this is the second month uh, dealing within this range, which would be about 71, 60, let's say 71 to 78. I say 71 to 78 dealing range. And so far, we are in between the range, we're in the middle of that range. This would be 26 period, 26-day moving average. Price actually now just dealing around it, uh, expecting it to close up and above. But having even said that, let me quickly uh, point out the momentum in my longer term time frame. The momentum, as we pointed out, is bearish on the long term. Uh, on the long-term chart, which is my weekly chart. It's bearish. It's going down. You can see even from the 26-week moving average, it's pointing down. However, when we're looking at our daily uh, momentum dynamics, uh, the momentum is increasing. It's going higher. I think price is rebounding at a faster, higher pace, and the stochastic is also midway, still heading higher. Stochastic is pointing up, heading higher, as you can see from this level. Uh, but what's most interesting for me, the most interesting part for me in this chart is that yesterday was a key reversal day, uh, and that coming from a strong support level. Yeah, not only was it a key reversal day, but it was an engulfing pattern, which was signifying or rather displaying very strong bullish sentiment and very strong bullish sentiment. And as a result of that, I see the price of crude oil from an intraday basis. I see the price of crude oil heading higher, at least to the 77 level, 7730 level. That would be my primary target on this upswing, which has just begun. Uh, I'm looking at there's a level here, the uh, 45 level as an entry level, waiting for price to come and retest, and then that will be a 75.45 level. I would going back down in a lower time frame, which is the hourly chart. So a buy order here would surface as this being, support, former resistance level. Uh, I see price coming to retest this area, which is giving us a good level to go in for a long. We can consider a stop level at the 74.65 area, you know, which is just below, the 74.85, and that should ideally give us a good projection of where price would go. If I was to just looking at this from short term, to try and channel out this. Okay. Well, yes, it's not a perfect channel, but that is my projection for now. So I feel that crude is going to come back, to go all the way to 77.30 level, and it should be a good place to go long in this price range. Having also mentioned, the having mentioned this level our ideal entry, as our ideal entry point. So all in all, all in all, I feel that in the near term, uh, intraday, from a intraday perspective, I believe that oil is headed to the 7730 level, uh, given the technical, analytical perspective, and that should be my forecast for now. So thank you for joining, and I know the presentation went a little bit longer. However, I hope it has been insightful, and talk to you soon. Thank you.